My name is Leah Davis. I am one of our assistant principals here at Dorris Intermediate School.
And my name is Karina Hamilton, and I am an RTI or an interventionist, and I'm also a Tier 2 coach.
My name is Tatum Dar. I am a 5th grade gen ed teacher and our PBIS Tier 1 coach.
And I am Heather Asperger, and I am a 6th grade ELA and social studies teacher and a member of our PBIS Tier 2 team and our SEL team as well.
And so we are presenting on TFI 1.12, which is school-wide professional development and coaching. And so we have kind of the TFI rubric on here so that you can see what that's all about. And we'll share with you some of the things that we've done here. A little bit about our school. We are an intermediate school, so we are 5th and 6th grade students attend here. We have about 900 students. 68% of our students are considered low income. We have 22% of our students with IEPs, and 16% of our students are English language learners. So we're quite a large and diverse school. 48.4% of our students are white, 29% are Hispanic, 15.8% are Black, and 5.7% are 2 or more races. So we have 900 students and about 100 staff members or so here in our building. So we've been working on implementing PBIS structures for about 5-ish years or so. We do have a Tier 1 team and we have a Tier 2 team, and these lovely ladies lead those teams. We also have an adult SEL team that kind of sidesteps and helps with some of the adult SEL things that go along with that. So our teams meet monthly. They review data, they kind of evaluate what our needs are here at our school, and we tweak things and go as we need. So what did we do? Our PLCs, so we have PLCs once a week. We used our PLCs and we have a focus on PBIS implementation and continuous improvement. So we have some specific things that we've done in PLCs that then have helped with some of the professional development needs of our building. And so why we did this, we took the self-assessment survey in April of 2024 and identified response to behavior, professional development, and staff improvement as priority areas. And then we devoted our PLCs to addressing those areas. So this is an image here that's kind of our PLC calendar that our district puts out, and then we modify it for our school. So we set our dates at the beginning of the year so that we have 4 PLCs specifically for PBIS, and then we have 4 that a lot of us double dip on an SEL group as well. So we kind of get 8 PLCs devoted towards PBIS, but specifically 4 that our Tier 1 and Tier 2 teams lead, and another 4 that our adult team leads as well. And so we have compiled 3 examples kind of what we've done during PLCs to drive PBS forward that we are going to share with you guys. Want the mouse?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm going to go ahead and open the slides for our first example. But I am just going to kind of leave them just so you can see maybe like the beginning of this. So we did share these slides with our staff and kind of gave them a little bit of the why we were doing what we were doing. So I'm going to land on, there we go. So in September, after the back to school hustle and bustle had subsided a little bit, we wanted to support our students and staff in finding ways to establish connections, build some positive classroom management early in the year before everything gets rolling. So for this specific PLC, we used 50 minutes and split we had 7 different stations for 5 minutes each, and we did build in some transition time. Where each station would include a game or strategy lesson or an idea that teachers could very easily go and take back to their classrooms and implement in their own classrooms. So, and I keep wanting to click through this, I'm sorry. So the stations, and they kind of start here, but station 1 was Play-Doh intros. So this would be where students could use a small canister of Play-Doh to craft something about themselves and they would later share about it. There was a would you rather, SEL circles. One of the stations was, I think station 4 was an activity where students and teachers would build their classroom expectations or rules together collaboratively. And that would allow them to, they would use like a sentence starter that would say like, what I want from my teacher, what I want from my classmates, what I want from myself. And that would allow conversation to occur, allow for students to express what they need. There was also a 2 truths and a lie and a self-portrait station. So we had the goal of giving teachers these tools, strategies, or ideas to intentionally create connections with and among their students. And we did get a lot of positive feedback.
So then one of the other examples that we did, or one of the other examples we can share with you is kind of an FAQ section that we ran.
All right, I'm just getting it set up. Our second session was set up similar to the one that Heather explained. So we held a rotating PBIS frequently asked questions session in November, which gave us an opportunity to review key topics and provide support for existing staff and also new team members, since we had quite a few team members join our school this year. At this point in the year, we feel like the patterns in behavior, your attendance, the social emotional needs are beginning to emerge. So we made this pretty much an ideal time to revisit supports like check-in, check-out, reviewing expectations, and strengthening implementation across the classrooms. Ultimately, we felt like this mid-semester check-in just helps align staff, improve the intervention effectiveness, and then ensure students receive timely and appropriate support when needed. So what we did is we met in our cafeteria and we set up 7 stations and we rotated about every 5 to 7 minutes. So each station was led by a facilitator who presented the information and then gathered feedback. And then we took that feedback and reviewed the feedback in our monthly tier 1 and tier 2 meetings. And I'm just going to kind of go over some of the things that were important topics that we went over. So just kind of like a basic all about check-in, check-out. So what kind of students, what is the purpose of check-in, check-out? How does it support student behavior? Our second station was kicking off our modified check-in, check-out. This was new for our school this year, so we really felt like we needed that time to be able to talk to our entire staff at one time about, when to modify, what type of students' needs were going to be addressed in our modified check-in, check-out, which for us, it was going to be external behaviors, internal behaviors, and then students with academic avoidance. So it was just more of a modified check-in, check-out system. Another area that we felt like we needed to talk about was KHOT kudos, which is just like our positive, tangible reinforcement that we use in our school. Just reminding people to use the PBIS language of being respectful, being safe, and being responsible, and safe whenever we hand out those kudos to our students. Our principal took a station and he talked about our school improvement plan and data and just how, reviewing the importance of data-driven decision-making. We also had our tier 3 support, which is our school-based mental health resource, who took a station and just kind of talked about, ways to make a referral and just kind of some of the things that she works on with students. And we also had a station on our Swiss, which is our PBIS tracking tool, just how to enter referrals, just kind of the basic overview of what kind of referrals were being entered, and then how we can use that to kind of make positive relationships with kids whenever we're identifying trends. And then our last station that we felt like we needed to talk about was our SEL Saver Screener. So again, this was kind of our first year doing that at our school. So we really wanted to be able to take the time to discuss, after the data was put in, our school psychologist was able to review that and just talk about some of the key trends, just a general overview of that. And overall, the goal was just to ensure that all staff have a clear understanding of the systems in place to support student behavior and well-being. And I'll go out of here and I'll pull up the next one.
All right, last but not least, we had, I'm going to do Last but not least, we did a tier 1 kind of reboot. Since I'm the tier 1 coach, we have our monthly meetings and we discuss the Swiss and referral data school-wide for all of our tier 1. And then we kind of determine what we need to do with our staff in order to combat those negative behaviors. And so again, one solution we came up with was using our weekly PLC meetings. So January was a good time. Again, it was a reboot after Christmas break, kind of a refresher a little bit. So we did an activity where we went into 2 different classrooms per grade level. And I'm going to kind of click through here a little bit. So we had 2 different classrooms per grade level, 2 in 5th grade and 2 in 6th grade, where the teachers rotated between both rooms, and staff spent about 20 minutes in each room doing whatever the designated activity was. So in one room, you can see on the screen here, teachers created, or really staff, they could work with their paras too, but staff created a classroom behavior matrix. We gave examples and we allowed work time for staff to be able to complete as much as they possibly could, since we know that time to do things like that is very priceless. So we wanted to give them that time. They were able to work with their co-teachers as well, which kind of enhanced the experience. I know I got to work with, I teach ELA and social studies, so I got to work with my math and science teacher since we share all of the same kiddos all day long. So that was really important for us to kind of be on the same page too. But the plan for our school was to, let me show you what they look like here. So this was the example that we showed them. And then they were given a blank one, paper copy and digital, that they could fill in. But our plan is to get those printed at some point, like big poster size that we can display in our classrooms, so that they can be big enough to be effective for the students to see them and see the verbiage on them, and for us to be able to refer to them throughout the school day or as needed. The second room was what we called our tier 1 classroom checklist. So again, this is all about tier 1, trying to combat those negative behaviors that we see a lot with our Swiss data. So staff were led through what is called the Classroom Management Checklist Observation Tool. Very lengthy there. And it's from Midwest PBIS. And really, this is a tool for reflection of their own classroom and practices in 5 different areas. And you can see those 5 areas on the screen. And again, this is just getting the staff thinking about their classroom and best practices for classroom management. So number 1 is orderly physical arrangement. So like your desks, how they're set up, things like that. The classroom matrix, which we just looked at, that example that we did in the other room. Active supervision. This would be teachers up out of their seat, facilitating proximity, walking around the room, which we all know encourages on-task behaviors. Number 4 is encouraging appropriate behaviors. And then number 5 is the responses to inappropriate behaviors. And again, this is all on a checklist that is linked here too. It is really nice as a classroom teacher to look at too and kind of sit back and reflect. So again, our overall, the goal of this PLC meeting for PBIS was to encourage that self-reflection and to get those matrices created to help with behaviors. And again, I think it was received pretty well. I mean, we did the 2 different classrooms so that teachers could get up and kind of move and take a break, because we all know that helps rather than just sitting in one room the whole time and listening to people talk for 50 minutes. So that's kind of been the goal of all of the PLC meetings, is people moving. So that is it for that example. Sorry, new technology here. I don't know how good I'm about to escape it. There you go. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
So our self-assessment now, where are we? I would say we're about a 3 at the moment. Some of the language, it's bolded in here where you have continuous PD cycle and additional supports are differentiated based on data informed need, or PD is aligned, where a 4 is then and PD is aligned. So some of those specific and or statements kind of, I feel like we're more of a 3 at the moment than a 4, but we're headed in that direction. And we think that we've done some pretty good things in moving our building forward. And so we were excited to share those with you. So recommendations for getting started, whether you are getting started or getting better, don't be afraid to start small. One of the things that I think was key for us was setting those dates ahead of time. We didn't have all of our PLCs lined out of exactly what we were going to do at each one, but we had the dates. And so we were able to kind of formulate that as we needed to, kind of looking at the data, looking at what we were doing. So having those dates and times set, and then we're able to build it out as we go. And so we've just been growing it as we go. To getting better, we're going to remember to connect it to our data and what our staff needs. And that's ultimately our goal in improving all of our processes. And that takes us to our question and answers.